So, why does my face look like it's been through a meat grinder? Well, I'm going to share with you in this pretty raw and transparent episode of Magic Pill Monday what's happening with my face. And just wanted to warn you there'll be a little bit of graphic images on that. But let's talk about the C word, and all this ties together. And not COVID, I'm talking about cancer. And of all the four leading killers, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's, I would argue that cancer and Alzheimer's, there's a toss up between those two on which one's the scariest. And we all have definitely known somebody that has suffered from cancer, or you may have experienced already yourself. And cancer is the number two killer in America behind cardiovascular disease. And prevention is the key. So the big takeaway from today that I'm going to tie together with my face is about prevention. And if I can get one person who watches this or shares it with somebody that watches it to do some preventive screening that I'm going to talk about, and it identifies something early, and identifying early is the key to the best outcome possible, then I have done my job and felt like I've had impact in this episode of Magic Pill Monday. So, like I said, just a little quick warning. I'm going to show you what's going on with my face, but this is Magic Pill Monday Live, episode 15. And we're talking prevention is paramount when it comes to the big C word, and that is cancer. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Coach Matt O'Brien. I'm a functional health coach for the past 24 years, dating back to 1998. I'm the author of The Magic Pill, the book behind me, my shoulder there, and founder of TrYumph Fitness and Nutrition in Largo, Florida, and creator of the Road to Health Coaching Community Program, where we feature the Year of Life and Onward functional health coaching online program. And part of that program is to take people through prevention and understanding the lab tests to identify things early so that we can act on them before it's too late. So that's my little introduction. And let's talk about my face for a second. I'm going to take off my glasses. I got two bright lights on so you can see my face in all its glory and what is going on. I can tell you this hurts, but what is going on is a form of prevention. And dating back, let's go back into the mid 2000s, I did my first skin cancer screening. And if you live in Florida like I do, and you're fair skinned or any skinned and you live in Florida, and I'll share some stories, but it is paramount important that you get screened. So I went in for my first screening at a local dermatologist, and they did a full body screen and found some things that looked unusual. They biopsied 5 different locations that they basically, all they do is they take a little razor blade type thing, they shave it off, doesn't hurt, or they can numb it if it's big, and then they put it into a container, sterile container, and they send it off to a pathologist. My dad, who's retired now, was a pathologist in his professional practice as a physician. And then they look at it under a microscope, they freeze it, and they do real fine layers, and then they kind of determine what's going on with those cells, or if there's any irregularities, why they look different, and or if they're cancerous. So in that initial screening, one of those samples came back positive for basal cell carcinoma. And of all the cancers on the skin, that is probably the one you want the most. Not saying you want it, but it's the easiest to deal with. And so then I was scheduled for a procedure. They said they could either excise it, where they surgically remove it and put stitches, or they could do a procedure called ablation, where they basically just shave layer after layer after layer until they don't see any more cancer cells. So that's a little bit easier to recover from. And I didn't want to slow my roll down, so I chose that. And it's you can't really tell, but it leaves a little bit of discolorations because I've had a couple multiples now. In a subsequent screening, I was identified with a squamous cell carcinoma, a little more concerning, and same thing, ablation on that one. So I'm thankful, and this probably dates back to my dumb 20s in tanning beds and all the things that go with bodybuilding, which I did for a short amount of time. But now I'm vigilant. Twice a year, I get screened at the dermatologist. And part of that screening process is when they look at your face, you can do this preventive measure. And I've done it 3 times now. This is time number 3, where they give you I call it cancer cream, but it is one I used in the past was Curac cream, and the one I'm using now, or I just finished, is called Fluorosil. And this one you combine with another prescription lotion and mix it together, and you put it on your face for 4 to 5 days, twice a day. And basically what happens is the precancerous cells get targeted and get irritated and die and then slough off before they can mutate into more problematic cancer cells. So it's a pain in the face, literally. This hurts like a sunburn, sort of. And you can see it's very discoloring. And I'm showing you in my full facial glory here, just being totally transparent and hopefully graphic enough that it makes an impact. And these are all areas that could, left untreated, develop into something more serious. And if you live in a sunshine state like Florida for a long enough period of time, you're going to know somebody that has had some kind of serious procedure. Just in the last 3 weeks, I know of 2, just in my circle of friends and influence. One that lost a good 30% of her nose because she had a melanoma. It was just a little mark that she just noticed about 10 years ago, did nothing, and just it got a little bit bigger and bigger. And had she dealt with it then, it would probably just froze it off. But 10 years later, as that core grows and the cells proliferate, now 30%, they have to basically get all the margins, especially if it's melanoma, which is the most serious. Melanoma left untreated can be fatal. Eventually, it's going to penetrate, affect other organs, or get into your lymph system and spread. Also know of a client's husband that drove for one of the shipping companies, and the left side of his face, the side on the driver's side where the sun's coming in, he had to lose about half of his ear and several parts of this side of his face. So what I'm telling you is prevention is the key. And I'm not just talking about skin cancer. Let's talk about some of the other cancers and why screening is something you should not ignore or put off. And colon cancer is very, very preventable if you identify it early. So if you're over the age of 50, or if you have colon cancer as a family history, you should start screening at the age of 40 and above. But they will do fecal sample screening to see if there's any type of cancerous or precancerous cells in that sample. And then more conclusive screening is a colonoscopy. And that's where they go in, they can see if there's any polyps and get to them early before they become problematic. So that's one form of screening. The visits I go to a dermatologist, you get pretty naked, and they use a magnifying glass with a bright lights, and they kind of just go all over your body and looking for any kind of unusual pigmentation, moles, they know what they're looking for, assuming they're a good dermatologist. So that is for skin cancer. And if you live in a sunshine state, absolutely necessary. And if you're fair skin like me, twice a year is, preventative. Next, most people have heard of mammograms. That's screening for breast cancer. And interesting fact, breast cancer has a lot of awareness and a lot of pink ribbons. And fortunately, the deaths from breast cancer have gone down dramatically through screening. But cardiovascular disease kills more women, I think 10 to 1, than breast cancer. So don't forget about heart disease, and we're going to be talking about that too. But mammograms definitely are important, so do that screening. Then you have blood tests now that can identify tumor markers and specific proteins released by cancerous cells in the blood, and that can be an early detection method to identify if you have something going on. And then they can use a PET CT scan to identify where it is in the body, and then go over the options with you. But I can tell you, the earlier any type of cancer is detected, the smaller, the better, the easier it is to deal with. And, we've all know, or you should know, what metastasize means is if you catch it early enough before it metastasizes or spreads throughout the body or to adjacent tissue or through the lymph system throughout the body, then your chances are really, really, really good of surviving that cancer. So certain cancers are more problematic than others. And, the sad truth is, in the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars they've spent in cancer research, the life expectancy once you get a stage 4, stage 5 cancer has not changed very much at all since the 1960s. So what has changed is the preventive detection has gotten a lot better. And by detecting it early, you can get that dealt with in a way that's going to prevent the metastasization or the, getting to those stage 4, stage 5 situations. So that's why I say prevention is paramount. That's the title of this episode of Magic Pill Monday. And just a little shout out. I just want to thank you, everybody that has started to tune in to the Magic Pill Mondays, whether you're on my personal profile or on my YouTube channel, which is TrYumph Nation TV, or in my my wife and I's private Facebook group called TrYumph Nation for health. It's health and happiness for time-starved, purpose-driven people. And if you're not in our free Facebook group and you're watching this on Facebook, please join us because we're sharing more information into that group than you're seeing here, and giving some tools that are helpful in all areas of health and happiness. So if you're interested, just put the word nation in the comments and we'll send you an invite to bring you into that free Facebook group. But anyway, back to detection. I just had a client spend close to $18,000 doing this full battery of 105 different screening tests. And several of those were for early detection of cancer. And one was a full body PET CT scan. And it was very thorough. And they were able to identify 4 unsuspicious small tumors that they were able to rule out again, that they weren't cancerous. So, and then they did the blood test. And one test is one of the blood tests that you can get to identify those proteins I was talking about early. So talk to your doctor about screening. Depending on the doctor, obviously dermatologists will do skin cancer screening, but your internal medicine or family practitioner will either help facilitate that screening for colonoscopies, mammograms, the blood tests, or they may refer that out. But have the conversation. Do not put this off before it's too late, because once it's spread, then you're fighting the fire. Just like the California wildfires, once they start spreading, the wind starts blowing, it's really hard to put out. And that's a good analogy for cancer. So the big takeaway for today, please, please, please commit to me and commit to yourself and commit to your spouse, partners, or family members, and certainly to your children if you have children, that you will get preventive screening. So I want you to commit right now and put screening in the comments, or I will get screened, or screen something. Just that little act of commitment could make the difference in your life of getting screened. So that's my big takeaway and call for you today. And if you have been screened, I want to know that too, so I can give you an attaboy, an attagirl. I will definitely like and comment on your comment if you put that in and let me know. So, and let's get the word out together. So this is something that early detection is the key, and got to be proactive when it comes to the C word. So that's what I want. Raise your hand and put screened in the comments if you're going to get screened, or let me know if you've done it so I can give you a pat on the back. And then let's spread the word together. And hopefully you got some value out of today. Again, my name is Coach Matt O'Brien, and I'm doing this Magic Pill Mondays is just an awareness, my effort, my give to humanity to increase awareness in the areas of health and happiness. And hopefully somebody, even if it's one person, if it makes a difference in one person's life where they get screened or they take one of the tests that I'll talk about to identify cardiovascular disease early, or they start on a nutrition or exercise program that ultimately leads to lasting change and functional health in their life, then I know I've done my job, and that's the purpose of these episodes. So if you're finding value, please do me a solid and share it. If you're on YouTube, you can obviously like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you get all the episodes first and foremost, as well as my Fat to Fit show that I'm doing on Fridays, documenting the one man's journey from morbid obesity to optimum health over the course of 1 year. We are 3 weeks into that journey, and you can see and follow Chris's progress as I take him along that path and all the things that we do in our Year of Life and Onward program that we call YOLO 360. So these are the things, but if you want more information, you want to join my circle of influence and my free Facebook group, TrYumph Nation, you can put Nation in the comments and we'll invite you in. So that's Magic Pill Monday live for this week. And I'm Coach Matt O'Brien. Hope you have an amazing, motivating week ahead, and get screened because prevention is paramount. And that's the big takeaway. Y'all have an amazing week, and we'll see you next time on Magic Pill Monday with Coach Matt. Y'all take care. We'll see you.